Imagine this. You're driving to work, running a little behind schedule, when suddenly that dreaded check engine light flickers on. Your stomach twists. Logically, you know fixing it now might cost $300, but your bank account shows only $42 until payday, so you ignore it. You turn up the radio, hoping the strange rattling won't get worse. You cross your fingers. Fast forward 2 months. That $300 you didn't have? The car now breaks down on the highway. You need a tow, $200. The original small problem? It destroyed your transmission. Repair costs? $2,000. Missed work? Another $300 lost. That simple inability to pay $300 became a $2,500 disaster. This isn't random bad luck. It's a mathematical trap. Being broke isn't just inconvenient, it's expensive. Hi, I'm Stickman, and I spend way too much time thinking about the hidden mechanics of money, those invisible rules that keep most people trapped on a treadmill of financial stress. If you've ever felt like you work harder every year but never seem to save more, or that one small setback could ruin your whole month, hit that subscribe button and drop a thumbs up. Today, we're not talking about stocks, crypto, or get-rich-quick schemes. We're talking about a different kind of trap, why being broke costs more than you think. Here's where most financial advice misses the mark. You'll hear things like, cut out lattes, or cancel your streaming subscriptions, as if saving $12 a month magically solves your financial problems. But this ignores a fundamental reality, the Boots theory of socioeconomic unfairness. It comes from Sam Vimes, a character in a Terry Pratchett novel, and it explains wealth inequality better than many fancy economics papers. Here's how it works. Imagine two men. One is wealthy, one is poor. The rich man buys a $50 pair of boots, quality leather, stitched to last a decade. The poor man has only $10. He buys the cheapest boots he can find, which fall apart after one season. By year 10, the poor man has spent $100 on boots, twice what the rich man paid, and still has wet feet. The rich man? Dry, comfortable, and $50 richer. This is the math of poverty. Without capital, you pay more for the same thing, and it's everywhere. Take toilet paper. With $50, you buy a bulk pack at Costco or Sam's Club. Cost per roll, maybe 50 cents. With $4, you get a 4-pack at the corner store. Cost per roll, $1.50. You're literally paying 3 times more simply because you couldn't afford the bulk option. This principle, sometimes called the poverty premium, applies to groceries, diapers, cleaning supplies, and almost every non-perishable item in your home. Your inflation rate is effectively higher than someone with money because you're always locked out of economies of scale. And it gets worse when you include banks. With $10,000 in your account, the bank treats you well. No fees, maybe a bit of interest. With $20, one missed payment triggers a $35 overdraft fee. That's like borrowing $5 for a day at 700% interest. A normal person would go to jail for that rate, but the bank gets billions every year from people living paycheck to paycheck. The rich earn interest, the poor pay interest. Being broke isn't just about bad habits, it's a systematic penalty, both financially and mentally. Scarcity consumes your brain power. Studies show worrying about money reduces your functional IQ by 13 points, the equivalent of losing a night's sleep. That's why smart-looking decisions, like payday loans or lottery tickets, often make sense when your cognitive bandwidth is maxed out just surviving the day. The Boots theory isn't only about money, it's about mental energy. The rich save not just money, but stress, energy, and time. The poor spend both their dollars and their brainpower on recurring problems, keeping them trapped in a loop. Before we go further, let me introduce myself. Hey everyone, welcome to Stickman Finance. If you want to take control of your money, avoid hidden financial traps, and make smarter decisions with every dollar, you're in the right place. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a strategy that can save you time, money, and stress. Let's get started.
Now that we understand the Boots theory and the poverty premium, let's see how it plays out with bigger, more expensive items, starting with cars. In the United States, a car isn't just a convenience. For most people, it's a necessity. Your ability to get to work, school, or even groceries depends on it. And the math? It's brutal if you're broke. A wealthy person might buy a reliable 3-year-old Toyota or Honda for $20,000, either in cash or with a low-interest loan around 4 to 5%. That car lasts 10 years with basic maintenance, oil changes, brake pads, maybe new tires. Total cost of ownership? Reasonable, simple, predictable, stress-free. Now, let's look at someone with bad credit and no savings. They need a car to keep their job, so they go to a buy here, pay here dealership, a predatory lot that sells high-mileage cars for far above their real value. A $4,000 clunker? they pay $8,000. Add a 24% interest rate because of their credit history, and over the life of the loan, that $4,000 car costs them $15,000. And chances are the car will break down before the loan is paid off. They're still paying for a broken vehicle while trying to finance another. This is the poverty trap in high definition. You're paying more because society deems you risky. The only way to escape the risky label is money, but you can't save money because the system keeps taxing you for not having it. Every dollar you don't have costs you extra. The same math applies to housing. Renting versus owning is the ultimate Boots theory example. Renters are paying 100% interest. Every month, your payment goes to the landlord, who profits while building equity in the property. To buy a house, you need a down payment. $10,000, maybe $20,000. If rent eats up 50% of your income, saving that down payment becomes nearly impossible. You're stuck paying $2,000 a month for an apartment that would cost $1,200 if you owned it. Meanwhile, the rich person buys a house, reduces monthly overhead, and gains an asset that grows in value. Being poor is expensive because you're renting everything: your shelter, your stability, even your time. And speaking of time, let's break down the hidden costs there. Take laundry, for example. Owning a washer and dryer? Active time, maybe 5 minutes. You throw in clothes, walk away, done. No mental load, no extra travel. Now, no washer? You go to a laundromat. $5 in quarters is the obvious cost. But add 2 hours of your life. Travel there, wait, travel back. 2 hours you could have spent working, resting, or with family. At minimum wage, that laundromat trip is astronomical compared to just doing laundry at home. Or consider food deserts. Many low-income neighborhoods lack affordable supermarkets. You end up at convenience stores with inflated prices. To get to a proper store, you pay bus fare and invest extra travel time. The friction of daily life, the extra costs, effort, and mental load, is much higher when you're broke. Time, after all, is money. Poverty steals your future earning potential by stealing your present hours. And let's not ignore banks again. With a decent balance, the bank rewards you. Low balance? Fees, overdrafts, and hidden charges stack up. It's another invisible tax on the poor. So far, we've seen that being broke costs you money directly: higher prices, loans, rent, and indirectly: lost time, lost mental energy, stress. Most financial advice overlooks this. Telling someone to invest in the stock market is useless if they're bleeding cash every month from these systemic traps. The first goal? Stop the bleeding. Identify where being broke forces you to overpay or overexert yourself and plug that leak. We've talked about cars, housing, and banks. Now let's zoom in on the smaller, everyday purchases that quietly drain your money. These may seem trivial, but over time, they're anything but. This is where the poverty premium hits hardest, and where most people don't even realize it's happening. Take groceries, for example. If you can afford to buy in bulk, like a big pack of toilet paper or a multi-gallon bottle of laundry detergent, you pay less per unit and stock up for months. But if you're living paycheck to paycheck, $50 for a bulk pack? Impossible. So you buy a 4-pack at the corner store. Cost per roll? 3 times higher. Same product, higher price. Multiply that across diapers, cleaning supplies, condiments, or canned goods, and suddenly your $4 weekly purchase costs you hundreds more per year than someone with money. This isn't laziness, this is forced overpaying. Being poor doesn't just make life uncomfortable, it forces you to spend more just to exist.
Let's talk about services. Many low-income neighborhoods lack access to affordable gyms, grocery stores, or even reliable internet. To reach the nearest good option, you might spend extra on transportation, pay higher fees at local convenience stores, or waste hours traveling. That's your time, energy, and money, all slipping away because society has structured access around wealth. Now consider mental energy. Being poor is exhausting, not just physically but cognitively. Research shows that financial stress reduces your functional IQ by 13 points. That's like losing a full night of sleep. Your brain becomes consumed with survival, how to pay rent, buy groceries, or cover an emergency. This is why so many bad financial decisions happen. Payday loans with 400% interest, buying lottery tickets, fast food instead of cooking. It's not stupidity. Your cognitive bandwidth is maxed out just keeping your head above water. You don't have the mental space to plan, strategize, or think long-term. Even small purchases are impacted by this mental load. The boots example isn't just about shoes, it's about decision fatigue. A rich person buys a durable pair once and forgets about it for 10 years. Their mental energy is free to invest in skills, business ideas, or other money-making opportunities. A poor person repeatedly buys cheap boots, not only paying more money but constantly worrying about replacements, comfort, and durability. That stress compounds every day, silently keeping them trapped. Healthcare works the same way. You skip a small dentist visit because you can't afford it. That cavity becomes a root canal. The $50 checkup transforms into a $500 procedure. Same principle. Paying more later because you couldn't afford it now. The math of poverty is relentless. Even entertainment and leisure aren't immune. Want to watch a movie? The local cheap theater charges $12. Meanwhile, the streaming subscription that costs $15 a month is accessible only if you have a bit of cash saved. Without it, your options are limited, often more expensive, and less enjoyable. The lack of money creates friction in every corner of life. Here's the scary part. The system depends on this. Companies, banks, and landlords profit from the friction. They bank on late fees, overdrafts, and repeated low-quality purchases. They know scarcity forces people to overpay, and they design systems around it. You aren't failing personally. You're paying the poverty premium. This is where an emergency fund becomes a weapon. Even $1,000 saved changes the game. It lets you fix small problems before they explode, buy bulk items, and avoid payday loans. It buys mental bandwidth, freedom, and flexibility. The first step isn't get rich quick. It's stop the daily leaks. Identify where being broke costs you the most, then find ways to plug those holes. Every small action, saving for reliable boots, paying off a high-interest loan, or buying durable items, is a strategic strike against the poverty trap. So far, we've seen how being poor isn't just about low income. It's about a constant financial penalty. The poverty premium drains your money, steals your time, and burns through your mental energy. But here's the good news. Understanding the math is the first step toward escaping it. Once you see the trap, you can start fighting back strategically. The key concept here is buffering. A buffer is money set aside for emergencies, unexpected repairs, or even minor luxuries that prevent you from making costly short-term decisions. Think of it as a protective shield. That $1,000 emergency fund isn't just savings. It's a weapon against the system. With it, a flat tire is an annoyance, not a payday loan trigger. A small leak in your home doesn't turn into a $2,000 disaster. You can buy high-quality boots, a reliable toaster, or bulk groceries, and actually save money in the long run. This is where the math shifts. Every dollar in your buffer reduces future costs, protects your time, and frees your mental energy. You stop being a slave to the short-term, forced decisions cycle and start making strategic, long-term choices. It's no longer just about surviving. It's about investing in your future stability. Here's another way to see it. Focus on total cost of ownership. Companies want you to think about monthly payments, not lifetime costs. A cheap $10 toaster? Sure, it's affordable today, but replacing it every year adds up. A $50 toaster? Higher upfront cost, but it lasts 10 years. That $40 difference per year actually saves you money and effort. Same with cars, furniture, electronics, even clothing.
Now, let's combine this with mental bandwidth. Scarcity limits your ability to make decisions. When you have a buffer, you reclaim your brain power. You no longer have to obsess over every small purchase. That freed up energy can go into learning a skill, exploring side hustles, or investing wisely. In other words, money buys mental space, which is as valuable, if not more, than the dollars themselves. Next, we scale this concept. Small buffers compound. Every time you pay off a high-interest loan, buy a durable product, or invest in preventative care, you reduce future penalties. That's why the first $1,000 is so hard to save. It requires discipline and sacrifice, but it also delivers the biggest return on investment of your life. You aren't just holding money, you're buying freedom from repeated, costly mistakes. This is where people often get discouraged. It's unfair, they say. I work so hard and I'm still paying more for everything. True, it is unfair, but understanding that unfairness gives you power. You stop blaming yourself for being broke and start targeting the system itself. Every decision becomes a move to reduce penalties. not a gamble against luck. For example, if your car needs repairs, don't patch it with the cheapest option. Save or borrow strategically to buy a reliable fix. If your credit is low, prioritize paying it down to reduce future loan costs. If rent is high, look for ways to consolidate, cohabit, or plan for homeownership. Each choice is a calculated strike against the poverty trap, one step at a time. Finally, this strategy isn't flashy. It's not about instant wealth. It's about defense first, offense second. Stop bleeding money, stop overpaying for convenience, and stop trading mental energy for short-term survival. Once your financial foundation is secure, you can shift toward wealth-building moves, investments, business opportunities, skill development, and long-term growth. We've explored the math, the psychology, and the systemic penalties that make being poor expensive. Now it's time to take action. Understanding the problem is one thing, but actually escaping the poverty premium requires deliberate, focused steps. The first and most important step is audit your life for vampire costs. These are expenses that exist solely because you don't have money. Are you paying high interest on a car or credit card? Buying single rolls of paper towels? Paying extra for convenience? List everything that forces you to overpay. This is the battlefield, and you need a map. Next, attack the biggest leaks first. If your car is old and unreliable, put together a plan to fix it properly or replace it with a reliable vehicle, even if it means temporary sacrifices. If rent is consuming half your income, explore co-living, smaller apartments, or neighborhoods with lower rents. The goal is to eliminate high-cost traps before they multiply. The third step is to build your first buffer. Start small, $500 to $1,000, but treat it as untouchable except for true emergencies. This is your shield against the financial storms that hit everyone. Flat tire? Emergency fund covers it. Broken appliance? Covered. That buffer not only prevents new penalties, but also reduces mental stress and frees your cognitive bandwidth for smarter decisions. Step 4 is about strategic spending. Always think about total cost of ownership, not just the upfront price. A $50 pair of work boots that last 10 years beats buying a $10 pair every season. A slightly higher quality appliance or a preventive car repair now saves hundreds or even thousands later. Treat every purchase as an investment in stability. Step 5 is to eliminate high-interest debt first. Credit cards at 20% interest? Payday loans? These are guaranteed losses. Paying them off is like earning a 20% risk-free return on your money. A better deal than almost any investment you can make while still living paycheck to paycheck. Every dollar you put toward reducing these penalties directly increases your freedom and reduces future costs. Step 6. Maximize mental bandwidth. Freeing up money frees up your brain. Once you've stopped worrying about small emergencies and repetitive penalties, you can focus on growth, side hustles, skills, or long-term investments. Your cognitive energy is an asset. Protect it the same way you protect cash. Step 7 is planning for the long term. Once your buffer is built and high-cost traps are minimized, start thinking about wealth-building tools. Buy assets, invest in education, or start a side business. But remember, first you stop the leaks, then you grow the streams. Finally, adopt a Boots Theory mindset. Every purchase, every loan, every subscription is part of a larger calculation. Ask yourself, will this reduce future penalties or just create more? Use anger at hidden costs as fuel. Let frustration with overdraft fees, inflated prices, or disposable goods drive you to strategically reclaim control over your money and your time. Here's the truth. Escaping the poverty trap isn't easy. It requires patience, discipline, and sometimes uncomfortable sacrifices. But the math is on your side once you understand it. Every step you take to reduce penalties compounds over time. The small investments you make today, quality boots, a reliable car, an emergency fund, pay off for years. You are literally buying your freedom from unnecessary financial suffering. The system is unfair, yes, but knowledge is power. Stop blaming yourself for being caught in it. Instead, attack the penalties, stop the bleeding, and make the math work for you. Step by step, you can move from surviving paycheck to paycheck to controlling your finances, your time, and your life. Start today. Audit your expenses. Build your buffer. Replace cheap fixes with permanent solutions. Treat every purchase as a strategic investment in your future. In time, you won't just survive, you'll thrive. The Boots Theory stops punishing you once you fight back strategically, and that's the real path to financial freedom. Thanks for watching. If this helped, like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more financial tips. Share this with someone who needs it. Remember, it's not just about making money, it's about keeping it and making it work for you. See you in the next one.